Hi everyone. Today we're going to have two kind of main challenges. Okay. Now this is to basically help your task and to help your artwork. Now, as you can see here, I just typed in pink peonies. Okay. Now, peonies is a type of plant that I've seen a few of you looking up, and they're a gorgeous plant that we get in Ireland during the summertime usually, and it kind of looks like this sort of flower. Now, what I noticed was people were looking up images and screenshotting them, let's say like this image here, and they were trying to work from that image. Now, that's all good and well, but I'll just show you something there now. 2 seconds there. I was paint, and I'll just go into this one. Okay, so if we take a look at this image here, okay, this is an image that I got from the internet. So it was one that I just screenshotted off, well, not screenshotted, I downloaded it from Google Images, okay, and it's of a pink peonies plant, and I'll be able to go in and edit it and change all the colors around and stuff like that, okay. Now, what I wanted to look at in today's class is the difference between a primary source and a secondary source image. Now, as we can tell, this is a secondary source image because I didn't take it myself and I got it from the internet, and I had no input in the actual taking of this photo or directing it or planning it or setting it out. Okay, now what my main problem is with this image, and we'll see it there now a bit closer later, is the fact that it's someone else, a photographer, took this lovely image, which is quite nice. But when he uploaded it onto the internet, or she uploaded it onto the internet, you can see that the picture quality had to be broken down. Now, that's because it's in a JPEG form, okay? Now, JPEGs aren't bad, it just means that it's a compressed form to fit onto the internet, because the internet can only take so much size imagery or images. Okay, so you can see there where we're after losing some of the details in the petal and the flowers. Okay, um, what I'm trying to get at is basically during the summer I was in a garden down in Kerry, and I spotted these peonies and I thought they were gorgeous. So I took a few images of them on my phone. Now, if I just zoom in there, you can see the amount of detail that you can capture on your own phone or on a camera if you have a DSLR or a normal camera. You can capture far more quality of your own camera if you take the image yourself. Now, this leads this leads me back to the IBIS Paint app, which I'm just going to jump back over to here now. So we can see our image there of their secondary source that we took off the internet, and if I just go back and click into this one, we can see our primary source. So I'm just going to click this and click edit. Now what we can do is, once we have it in edit, we can zoom in, we can crop a certain area, we can do whatever details we want, and we have loads of pixels to work with. Now what I mean by pixels is, if you zoom in and you see each individual dot is a pixel. Okay, now if you take the image yourself, usually you're looking at 12 million pixels on one image. Okay, so 12 million little dots building up the image. Now if we jump back and I just go to my gallery, 2 seconds, it just takes a second there sometimes. So I'm going to jump back to the secondary source and show you the difference in the actual pixels. So if I go down here to edit, and if I zoom in, you can start to see the breakdown of pixels. Now, you can just see it along this line here, along there, I'll just wrote that out. So you can see where there was a pixel here, it kind of stopped and then started and stopped and started along this line. Now that's not a natural line, okay? That makes it look like a computer generated the image, and it's because when photographers upload images to the internet, they had to be compressed to suit the file, okay? Now, that's all good and well when you're just trying to find an image, but when you're trying to edit an image on software such as this IBIS app, it means that you have half the amount of pixels to work with. So you have half the amount of information in the photo to work with. Now that's the main reason why artists and photographers and art teachers and all sorts ask you to work with um, primary source imagery, because you'll be able to go in and suck way more detail out of the image that you've taken. Okay, so what your challenge is for today's class is look at both the mind map and the artwork that you created in the last class and try isolate different parts of it that you will be able to recreate yourself by taking the images. Now, I understand some students will say, "Oh, the my images I need to be in the summer, or those flowers don't come out in the winter time." That's perfectly understandable, but try find a substitute. Try find something that will fill in nature. Okay, so I'm just looking outside my window here now, and it's one of the most gloomy days I've seen in a while. So obviously today wouldn't be the nicest to be going out photographing, but what I'd love to see you doing is if you're out on a walk in the evening, if you're say going past a castle or past a river, that you're snapping a photo of it and you're trying to capture that moment. Okay, now this kind of goes back to what Melanie was saying about the idea of having a story behind the image. If you use Google to find your image, so if you use Google just to find your image and take it, that's someone else's story. That's someone else lived through that moment. You didn't experience it. While if you actually were down in Kerry and you photographed a flower down in Kerry, you'll remember everything that happened in that day and remember the moment that you shared with this image. Okay, now that's very important when you're thinking about what Melanie was saying for the her or the project, that she was thinking the mural should have meaning to it and should, because it'll give it more value. Okay, now that has to be said too with the imagery, that if you're only finding source imagery on the likes of Google Images, then you're not going to be connected with any of those images. Like if we look through here now, you can see the images. There's quite nice images, okay, but a lot of them are staged. A lot of them are set up by someone else, okay, and you have no artistic input into those images. So what's very important is that you take a look. Maybe take even a look at some of the images that you want to find on Google, but then try to recreate it yourself using your own camera. Okay, so using your own camera, go out and photograph that moment. Now, I just seen up here in my gallery, I can see the image that I took originally, and I can also see the garden that it was in. Okay, now this was on some island off Kerry. I can't even remember the name of the island now, but it was just a kind of a garden that you walked around. But the flowers, as you can see, if I just taken this photo, most of the flowers were dead. Okay, so you can see here where there was dying flowers, and if I had just snapped that photo, it wouldn't have been nice. While the one I took was over here, and I was able to get in underneath the flower and photograph upwards. Okay, so being the photographer in the moment means that you can capture something with far more quality than just finding it on the internet. Okay, so what your task is for today is to go out there, try find some images that suit your project. Now, if you already have the image on your phone and you've taken it, say, last year or the year before, or if your parents or guardians are photographers or have some photos at home that you'd like to work from, by all means, that would be fantastic. You don't have to rush out and try to take photographs during this mucky weather, okay? So try use what you have as well and send it back in once you have a reference photo or some ideas of what you'd like to capture. Okay, best of luck with it, guys.